Hey, all right. Good evening and welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello, everyone. How are you this evening?
Just wonderful, I'm sure. So, this evening, Tina and I are going to talk about blended families and blending to perfection.
That's right. So stay tuned.
All right, here we go, here we go.
All right. So tonight we have joining with us entrepreneur and blended family expert,
Expert.
right? Nicole Odom-Hardnett. So let's welcome Nicole.
Hi, thank
Hi, how are
you.
you?
It's nice to be back again.
I
Yes, it
know,
is.
right? Seems like we just saw you.
Yeah, right. I know.
That lets you know that the topic never gets boring, right?
That is right. It's always something cooking.
Yeah, it
Uh,
is. It's wonderful. So, I mean, we've been getting a lot of feedback, and you guys have it. Make sure you go check out the episode on the legendaryrelationship.com/59. Check out the episode Blending to Perfection.
Right. So we spoke with Nicole about her blended family and how she's coping with it or how she learned to cope with it. Then she
Hmm.
ended up writing a book about it. So tell us a little bit about blended families and share with us some of the funny things that are now that may have been not so funny then. Part of the right. So you working through it at that time. You're like, oh, okay, how are we gonna get through this? And now you can laugh about it, but then you may not have been able to.
Yeah, it was kind of strange living with young ladies because I had never, other than being in college, living with young girls. I never, because I have two older brothers, and I have boys, biological boys of my own. So raising boys and being the youngest of two older brothers, I never
Wow.
lived in a house.
So that right
It's
there.
all this testosterone around me all the time to have all this estrogen now around
Yeah.
me was very different to be in the house with this. And I'm like, okay, they talk a lot. And boys, they just slug it out. And,
And it's over
my
with.
my brothers, I just duked it out with them. And then even though they were way older than me, I fought. I played football with their friends, and that was it. That's all I knew. But it was a whole nother world having girls in the house, and I'm like, okay, this is what happens.
Totally
Okay.
different. Totally different,
It is.
right?
It's a totally different vibe. Yes.
Yeah,
Right. So
yeah.
you had it.
I never thought about that. When we all came together.
Wow. That's totally because girls are totally different than boys, right?
Most definitely. And
So
they are girly girls. They're the hair, the nails, and makeup and everything. And I'm not a makeup wearer. Like, I don't do the colors. All you get is some foundation, a little bit of foo-foo on the lips. If anyone ever sees me with some color, I call somebody in.
wow. So how did you learn to adapt to that, right? So when they wanted to do the girly girl things, how did you adapt to that?
I can go with the flow. I fit in wherever I am. I always fit in. So you know whatever the conversation is in the house, I can adapt to it. Whatever music they listen to, it may not be my thing, but I adapt to it. So I've always been in with their culture because the way that they dress is still kind of similar to the way that I dress. That's my style. So it's not too far off, even though I may not be wearing the midriff and the little booty shorts and stuff like that. But our style is still a little similar because everyone says I don't look my age, But I've kind of fit right in because I guess I'm young at heart.
What about the bathroom schedule?
So
Wait, that was a
I like that.
that was a hit.
Right,
Your
you
hand-
had to adjust.
Your hand kind of went like, wait, whoa, wait.
we were fortunate enough to have multiple bathrooms that I did not have to share.
Okay. But did they take a long time in the bathroom?
Yes, they did. And I'm just gonna tell you that when we started living together, one of the things that I made my husband, well, we weren't married when we started living together. One of the things I made him do or promise me is that we would have to have a housekeeper because it was hair all over the place, and it was just so many of us in the house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm not cleaning up. And
So how many is so many of us?
It was, let me see, 3. Well, the oldest girl, she lived for a day, and then she went off to college. So we had 2 boys and 2, so it's 4 kids in the house, and then myself and my husband. And then the oldest would come home, and then the oldest 2 boys would come over from time to time. So we had a lot of in and out. It was a lot of stuff going on.
A lot of cleaning needed to be going on.
And then my youngest son, we used to call him United Nations because he would meet everyone in the neighborhood knew him.
And stop by.
They would come over. Every kid would come over. My house has always been known for the slumber party house, sleepover house, that type of house. So we just had cousins come over. We had to have the pantry stocked, the refrigerator stocked at all times. So our grocery bill was ridiculous. So we would go to
you and 2 boys to a house full of people. So I'm sure your grocery bill like tripled. So that was an adjustment.
That, the cleaning, everything else. So you didn't really have a front door. It was just like a revolving door.
Yeah.
So let's get into some of the other things that we talked about on the podcast Wednesday. We talked about the adjustment of the other parent, right? The biological parent,
right,
as opposed to you coming in and now you're the, I know people normally say the bonus kids, but you were really like the bonus mom.
Right.
So how did that play out? How were you able to actually make it work with you, the children, and the other parent?
Well, I really didn't. I focus more on my relationship with the kids.
Okay.
Because when I realized that myself and that other parent, we weren't going to work because she didn't want it to work, because of the issues that she had going on, I couldn't focus on that. I can't make someone like me. I can't make someone want to be around me or talk to me. So later for that. So I needed to focus on my relationship with the kids. And in my house, I need to make sure everyone is comfortable. Everyone is eating. Everyone's getting their work done. Everyone has clothes. Or make sure they maintain a roof over their head. My husband's comfortable. We are a family unit. That is my focus. Later,
was it easy to do that focus though with the other parent? Even though you said, okay, I'm not gonna focus on the other parent.
I know it gets under your skin.
Well, was it hard kind of not having that parent on board? And I don't even know if is that parent on board now. Initially it makes havoc, right? It kind of
it does
kind of tension.
It does make havoc. It does create tension, especially when you have this outside. It's like a gnat. It's
That's a very good analogy.
It is.
It's like now. Like you need to act. You just know you need to act right. It makes no sense because what y'all had.
Yep.
Right.
Whenever it was, whatever it was, now it's done and it's over. And it's been over. It was over, like I said, before I even came on the scene. And you
Exactly.
know this.
Right.
So why are you acting like this? It's absolutely ridiculous. And then, as a grown person, why are you bringing these young people into this? Why are you voicing your concerns, opinions, whatever frustrations to these young people about someone that they love, someone that they cherish, and
Someone that they
making
don't
them
even know
choose?
anything. Yeah.
They don't know what's going on in your mind. They have no idea why you're acting this way, but they're forced to choose. And of course, they're going to choose you because you may be crying, you may be upset, and you're hurt,
Right.
and they're like, okay, well, mommy feels this way about my other parent, and I'm gonna take mommy's side because I don't want her to be upset.
Right.
And
Right.
that's fair
Mommy's gonna
for the
always, yeah,
child.
because mommy's right.
Right, because that's fair for the child to do. But a child shouldn't be forced to be in that predicament
Situation.
ever. Ever. I don't care what the situation is. I don't care if somebody busts you upside your head. A child should not be forced to be in a situation ever.
No, they
Um,
shouldn't.
they
I
shouldn't
mean,
be in the middle, no matter who is right or who is wrong. They shouldn't be forced to be in the middle because they're their parents.
right, exactly.
And they
But
have
I mean,
love for both of them.
right. But you want adults to act like adults.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And just leave whatever you feel about that other, your ex out of it and deal with that on your own.
So
And
how did,
just leave it as, okay, mommy and daddy aren't together anymore, or your mother and your father aren't together anymore, and that's it. But
All
no,
right.
it wasn't like that.
So I want to interrupt for just a second. Let's let everyone know that we're talking with Nicole Odom-Hardnett. She's the author of Blended,
blended to
Blended to
Blended to
perfection.
Perfection and Dating.
Dating made simple for women.
All right, which we're also getting something new out called.
Yeah, so I haven't finished the title of it, but it is the next step. After you find that man, after you read Dating Made Simple for Women, and you have snatched up that man, now you need to know what to do with him. You
So
need to know
So we need
once
to.
he give you that ring, once he put a ring on it,
I love it.
you need to
Guys,
know how to keep him.
that's right, guys. If you want to leave comments, you can leave comments on the Facebook Legendary Relationship or our YouTube um, page. You can go over to Legendary Relationship on YouTube and leave a comment. And if you want to, leave a comment, I'll bring it up on the screen. And or if you have a question about, blended family or situation, or you know what, you could just ask for a friend.
Right,
It don't even have to be for you.
So
It
it's
could
funny
be
that
for
you
your
said
cousin.
that. Huh? You're
It
right.
could be for your cousin.
There you go.
So let me ask you this, because you said what is that next step, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to the first step, right? Dating
Right.
made easy. In your book, do you tell people that so what is how do they get to that first step? How do you snatch up the man? And I guess I'm asking that because people want to go into relationships not understanding that it's a compromise, or you have to be the person that you want in that relationship.
Right.
So
Right.
just-
You have to get yourself ready first.
Exactly.
You
my
need to
point.
prepare yourself, your mind, your body, your soul, all of that. You have to be ready. Like I call it, I dated myself first because I
Right.
needed to get to know me. Everyone has their baggage. They're gonna go into the relationship with baggage. It's just how much baggage that you carry into that relationship. You need to free your mind as much as you possibly can of all that previous stuff, even from your childhood, if at all possible, because all of us have had stuff happen in our past and in our childhoods that we are carrying around with us. I had so much stuff that happened to me in my childhood that I was carrying around with me for years, and it was causing me to act out, and it was causing major problems in previous relationships.
So when you said you were dating yourself, so if you didn't like yourself, then what happened? You're like, well, you know what?
then you then
You
ain't
know,
nobody
You're in
else.
trouble. That's what
right? Because normally, if you don't like the person in the relationship,
you
you can
can
kind
go
of
to
just go
somewhere,
to
right?
another one. So that's a good way to kind of get things in perspective, right? So when you
Right.
were
If you don't like yourself, then nobody else is gonna like you.
right, right,
Or at least some part of you. And that's what was going on with me. There was a piece of me that people did not like, and it was my temper, because whew, it was bad.
that
Would
probably
you say?
because you
Would
were
you say
all
because it
around.
was short? You had a short temper?
I had a short temper, but it was a quick temper. Like
Oh, okay.
that 0 to 60 thing
Yeah.
was real. It took nothing for me to curse you out. It took nothing for me to like snap on you, and I just completely flipped out. Like I was the one who in my younger days that they called when a fight was going on or about to go down. I was the one that they called.
Really,
That was me.
you seem so opposite of that.
Mm.
Why has how time has changed you, huh?
Completely changed.
And then
Completely
you think it was
changed.
because you were around boys your whole life?
Yeah. I just had no problem. Like I said, my brothers are 6 and 8 years older than me,
You
and
have
like I
that
said,
edge.
we used to fight, and I had absolutely no problem. We used to play football together with their friends and everything. Like I was the one. Like they used to call me a bully. I was
So,
it.
so
Like
that's really amazing. Because how do you adjust from being that to now in a blended family, trying to really blend it together? Like that's especially with that net. You're just
Yes.
like
Right.
So I mean that takes
He's
a
like,
lot of changing, a lot of
yeah.
self awareness.
I'm still myself. I know who I am, and I know whose I am. But it was things that happened to me. I was molested in my past, and it was something that I held inside of me until the age of about 27, 28. I told absolutely no one, not even my mother. No one knew. And I finally broke free at 27, 28.
Do you think that's why your temper was so short?
Oh, yeah, I know it was. That was it.
So
So that was my acting out. I used to break things, and that was those my temper, breaking things, all of that was my release,
right,
because
right,
all of that was
right,
bottled up inside of me.
Yes.
exactly. And
But
you didn't
once
have any other.
I knew how to cope with it, my breathing techniques, my counting, and those type of things. Once I learned how to do all of that, I'm like a different person.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's hard to believe you're just so calm. Seems like
Yeah.
you're just.
My temper is still it's there, but it's nothing, absolutely nothing like it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you needed all the breathing and exercise and everything. If you got a
Yes.
house of seven, you had 7 kids
Yeah.
to deal with. Yeah.
So now you still put it into practice, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Training never gets old, right?
That's
You can always
right.
call upon it.
So
Yeah.
how do you with that? How do you deal with the discipline and how you got you and your husband now disciplined as opposed to the other parent how they discipline? And then sometimes kids have a tendency of playing two sides to the middle, right?
Yeah.
So we are a team, 100%.
No, two
We
sides to the middle meaning the other parent and you guys.
my husband and I are a team, and we are the primary parents
Okay.
of all the kids. So the two oldest boys, they're older,
Okay.
so there are no playing the two sides. They're grown. They're like really grown. um,
They grown.
so most of our kids now are really grown. The youngest is 19.
Okay.
And so
But
the
it wasn't
only
always that age.
right, that's true. So when they were younger, we were still the primary parents.
Okay.
Since we have been a team, we have been the financially primary parents.
Okay.
My oldest son's dad, well, with my two boys, I have been the custodial parent
Okay.
of them, and what I say goes. Always gone.
I like that. Okay.
That's just really how it's been. So my boys, they didn't play that two side. They didn't really buck me.
Okay.
Okay.
I
Why? Because
didn't.
they were a little
You
Afraid.
know, what I
afraid.
told my boys early on is you need to fear me more than you fear the police.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
Okay.
that's what I taught them early on. And I remember my I think it was my youngest son when he turned 15, 6. No, it was like he was older. I think he was 18. He said, "Mom, I'm not scared of you anymore." I said, "Yeah,
Why?
right." And he started laughing.
That's because you ain't calmed down.
Right. I was calm by then, but it's always been like a joke because anything that they have ever done, like I could tell that something was going on, like they had did something, and it would come out before they would even tell me what was
So
going on.
now, what about the bonus kids? Did they ever try to play the two sides to the middle in different houses?
They didn't really buck their dad like that because he has always been the caregiver for
Okay.
them.
Okay.
Okay.
Always. So no.
All
Oh,
right.
I
We
So
thought
that made it
you
easy.
had it you had it all under
Yeah,
control.
we've never really have that. Now my oldest son, he will try to do that with myself and my mother.
Okay.
Okay.
But I'm kind of time enough for him. Hmm.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
he tries to be my oldest one. He's a slick one. Hmm.
Okay. So before we get out of here, let's just share something like what are some of the suggestions you give to blended families as far as coming into something new, starting to cope, getting to understand each other, anything that you can give them.
I would say the first thing you need to do is know your partner.
Okay.
Know what you're getting into. You and your partner, you have to be like ironclad. You have to be tight. Everything has to be solid, especially when you have those ex issues, like I did, because that can be the thing that can possibly tear you apart.
Right.
Right.
Therapy also, I can't recommend enough therapy, especially first and foremost with your partner, because you gotta know each other. You have to be a team.
Right.
The kids also, I don't know which age is the most difficult. If you have the ex issues with the younger ones, I don't know. But with the teenagers, they already have their minds made up on things. If they're strong-willed kids, then it may
Right.
be difficult. Fortunately for us, we didn't have that issue where the kids didn't like each other. Our kids loved each other from like day one. So we didn't have that type of problem with the kids against each other. Um, be patient, all the way around, because it's new for everyone. You really are going to have to be patient because you can't expect it to work from day one. If it does, then that's great, but be very aware that it may not always be
Right.
peaches and
Right.
cream, because eventually that tornado is going to.
Finds its way to your place, right? Your
That's
address.
that's right. And it's just gonna be a big old cloud over your house. And it's gonna be sunshine and all the rest around the block. And that cloud is going to just loom over your house for who knows how long. But if you really want it, you just gonna have to weather that storm.
And I think the strength of it becomes, like you said, you and your partner.
You and
That's
your
the
partner, and whatever vision that you have or you had in the beginning,
right.
and you just have to hold on to that, and talk it through and work it out, and keep going to therapy.
Communication
Got
is
it.
key,
That's
right?
right.
That,
You got to
that
keep going to
communication
therapy and keep
is,
going to
is key.
therapy.
That's right.
All right. So this is just a brief We're not here to hold you guys long.
But I do want to talk about a book, so I'm
Okay,
gonna bring them
all
up.
right.
I'm gonna bring the books up here, and all right. So go ahead and tell me about your book, your Blended to Perfection, and your dating for
Dating Made Simple for Women.
dating made simple for women.
So Blended to Perfection was it's a book that I just, I just felt like I had to write it because, I've been through so many ups and downs and, rivers and valleys in my life. And, the blended family was definitely something that I weathered. And I didn't think that I was going to make it through. And I did. And I came out of it, I feel like on top now. And, I'm just happy to be here. And I think so many people have gone through storms and they probably don't even really realize that they've gone through the storm. And it's just I guess a testimony or something to my life. And I think if people read it, they'll see that, if I can go through it, you can too. And Dating Made Simple is just a small handbook of how you get to know yourself before you get out there and start dating someone else and expect someone to know you and date you and want to marry you, and you haven't even cleaned yourself up from the last relationship.
I love the way you put that.
And stop carrying the baggage from your previous relationship and thinking that everybody is going to treat you the same. Well, if you meet in the same type of guys in the same places, then of course they're going to probably treat you the same. But get out of your comfort zone also with the type of people that you meet. But more so, Dating Made Simple for Women, it's just a rule book. It's a really short handbook. I think it's like 33, 34 pages. And it's 4 like chapters in it. And so it's just a guidebook of how to date and stop shortchanging yourself on these guys, and just choosing better and just being better for yourself, and doing things outside of yourself and picking the same old trash.
And that's what, and I think that's what a lot of us need.
I just hear all these stories. I hear all these stories of these great, great women, and they're in bad relationships. And I say they're in bad relationships not because I think they're in bad relationships, because they talk about their relationships and they're not happy. If you're happy with your relationship, then hey, fine. But if you are doing these awesome things, but you have this person beside you that is not your equal, or boosting you up and you're doing great things together, then that's a problem. And you're complaining about it, then that's definitely a problem.
Yes, I think that's I absolutely think that's something that we need, because so many young women don't realize where they're going wrong. Mm-hmm. They don't realize that they are themselves the pattern of the relationships that they keep getting into. Yep. And until I change to become the relationship that I want, I'm going to keep getting the same old thing. I'm going to keep attracting the same thing. I'm going to keep getting it, and I'm going to still be unhappy. So like you said, I think a big key of it that you talked about was dating yourself. Taking time out from dating, trying to just get a ring on it, to stopping to understand, who am I, what do I need, what are my needs, things like that. So I think that's definitely a handbook that a lot of women, young and old, doesn't matter of age.
Right. Just stop trying to have a warm body beside you, because it's just not worth it. It's defeating the whole purpose of you moving forward in life. Really just moving backwards, because that person is draining you. They're taking up all the time that you could be reading, studying, working, or building yourself up. They taking all that time. When you cooking them dinner, you watching TV with them, you doing all this stuff for them. What about the stuff for you to build yourself up? You could be back in school. You could be, doing all this stuff at conferences, conventions, whatever, building you and doing more for you. But, they ain't doing nothing for you but laying on your couch, burning up your electricity and you paying the bill. They ain't doing nothing. They ain't giving you nothing. They ain't coming to your house with nothing. They want you to cook They want you to buy the food for you to cook for them in your house, and then they go over another chick house and they doing the same thing, and they ain't bought nothing all week long.
Exactly.
And it's cool for them and it's cool for you, but no, it shouldn't be like that. So I'm like, come on, ladies,
we keep it real.
Let's keep it real. Now we all been a little stuck on stupid at sometimes, including me.
Right.
So I'm not going to exclude myself.
But it's time to wake up and smell a coffee.
Yeah, you gotta wake up sometime.
That's right. So you gonna talk about where to talk to?
Yeah.
Right?
So talk to Nicole. You go to talktonicole.com. That's your website, correct, Nicole?
That's it.
All right.
That's my website.
Go ahead.
That's my website. So if you go to talktonicole.com, you can go to my Calendly. You can book some time to speak with me, and we can lay it out on the table. Now, if you want the truth, believe you me, I am going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Not at all. So you're not going to say, oh, well, she told me to do this. But if you want, I've been through quite a bit. I've been in domestic violence relationships. I have been, unfortunately, sexually abused. From the range of, like I said, I've been stuck on stupid in some relationships. So, I mean, but I have learned my lesson, and that's the whole key to it, is learning your lesson and moving on. I didn't go straight out of high school to college. I went later on in life because I just thought that I could work my way up.
Right.
But here I am now. So no one gave me anything. I had to work my way to where I am now. Now I am president and CEO of Focus Point Solutions, doing business as Focus Point Behavioral Health. I own talktonicole.com. I also own Focus Point Home Health Care. And so, it's like if I think it and dream it, I can be it. And that's what I believe. And if you want it, go get it. That's my vision. That's what I believe in. And sometimes my husband's like, okay, wait a minute, how are we gonna do this?
So you broke the news to him that you were starting the home hair care. I mean, the
home care,
health care. Yeah, because you mentioned it on the podcast, but he didn't know it at that time.
He didn't know it. But I'm like, I'm gonna do this. We're gonna do this. So my son, our oldest son is here, and so I recruited him. And so he's helping me along with this, but I'm still running, my main business. So I'm like, I'm gonna do this. We're gonna. So
tell us a little bit about your main business. I read briefly it had something to do with abuse, like some type of alcohol or drug abuse, or so tell us just a little bit about it.
It's outpatient substance abuse and mental health.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes.
And if you don't mind me asking, what kind of directed you into that field?
Actually, I would say it found me. So in grad school, I started a business with someone I was in school with, and it was for transitional housing, and it was for men and women. But women, we are hard to deal with. I'm just going to say, so the women that were in the house were very hard to deal with. They just wanted so much. They wanted to bring their boyfriend along, bring people in. I'm like, wait a minute. This room is for you. You got to get yourself together first before you can bring a man up in here and be sleeping in the room with the man. I'm like, what is going on? We can't do all of this. You can't, nah. So the women phased out very quickly. So it just became men, and I worked with men, very well.
I think that's it's a pattern in your life, right?
Because women, they get offended when you tell them the truth. Sometimes, some of them, they can handle the truth. Like I can handle the truth. If you telling me something for my own good, I can handle it. And I think that's because my mother, she has no cut cards at all. She gonna tell you how she feel, and that's it, and that's all. But some people, and some men too, they think that you are attacking them when you're telling them something. And I try not to, some people think that I speak harsh, and if you don't know me, I can see because I do come off a little harsh. Um, but I'm direct. That's the way I like to call it. I'm very direct. And the men, they handle it just fine. And unless you are a weak man, you may not be able to handle me. But I had men in my house for several years, and those men kept my houses so clean that you could eat off the floors. No dishes in my sinks, no nothing, because that's my rule. Just like in my house, that was what they did. Their beds were made and everything. And it seemed like in every house, I had one stray that just wanted to do what they wanted to do, but they didn't last long because I had a zero tolerance rule. These people in my house were trying to get clean, and I didn't want that one to mess up everyone else's sobriety. So you mess up, you had to go. So my transitional houses turned into assisted livings, but my assisted livings ended up, they weren't for the elderly population.
Okay.
They were for those who were dually diagnosed. So they either had, they had to have addiction and a mental health diagnosis. And then we went into the outpatient drug treatment clinics, or programs. So I have 4 of them. And then I just recently got licensed for mental health. So I'm an OMHC, outpatient mental health clinic.
Okay.
Nice. Okay.
So you, in the beginning, you probably partnered with someone as far as the outpatient, with them getting help. You partnered with some type of medical facility.
Yeah. So all of them, when they came in, they were seeing their own therapist.
Okay.
And so when I had the transitional housing and the assisted livings, they were going to outpatient drug treatment clinics, and they were seeing therapists on the outside on their own. And with me working with these programs and seeing all these transactions and being involved with their therapists and being involved with their counselors, and having some family members that were eventually in these different programs, and me just being entrenched in this, and also from working with the population at previous jobs. So I've just been in this environment for so long. And before actually grad school, I was in the environment just for so long for previous employers, having to place individuals that would come up positive for cocaine and whatever, and I couldn't place it. I'm like, well, Dad, why you didn't tell me you was getting high? And I'm like, you know,
Right.
so my ignorance then, before I started working with the population, I'm like, well, dang, how am I supposed to place you? Because that was my job. I was the director of career services at a school. And I'm like, okay, so basically I'm like, okay, you're going to go against my numbers now. So that's how I was looking at it. But I had worked with and I'm like, okay, so what do I do? So I had to reach out and see if I could get them some sort of treatment, because they couldn't get a job, because they would confide in me and tell me, look, Miss Nicole, I'm doing this, that, and the third, and I'm just not. And I'm like, okay. So I would have to reach out to these places and call. And so I've just always been in that community.
Okay.
And so, at this point, it's like, I'm not thinking about this, but it's just always been a connection with me in this community. And, I went to school for this, and this is the population I feel most comfortable with.
Okay. And most of them are willing to go into the treatments?
Most of them.
Okay.
Now, some of the population, so the people that are in my programs, they either have to be there from parole probation, Department of Social Service. I have a large number that are they self-refer.
Okay.
Okay.
Some of them are referrals because their family members may have heard a commercial or something along the way, or the prison that may be in the area. But you know, they come from any
Living place.
anyway.
Okay.
Yep, anywhere.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
but this is my population, and you know, it's a lot of stigma with this population, but I embrace them with open arms. I've just been entrenched in this community for a number of years. I would say probably I've been in healthcare for over 20 years, but with this general population, I would say it's probably been at least 15 now.
Okay.
good. Helping the community. Helping the
Mhm.
community any way you can.
Yep.
Well, I think that's it. We don't want, like we said, this was just a quick
Okay.
live.
A
so we
quick
can-
live would turn into another podcast.
Right. Well, thank you for joining us tonight, and I think we're gonna conclude it there. You have any other questions or anything?
No,
Jay?
thank you so much.
Yes.
We put up there how to get in contact with you. Also, I'll put it in the show notes on our YouTube video. I mean, our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is Legendary Relationship. Go over there and check it out. TalkToNicole.com. And go check her out. Get on her Calendly link. Get on her schedule. If you want the truth, if you want it right between the eyes, I think she's going to give it to you right there. So
Give it
it's
to you.
nice to be able to talk about stuff.
That's with blended families or with anything else, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only way I know how to do it. I'm gonna tell you this for you.
That is wonderful.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much. And let's cut it off.
All right.
Thank
hold on
you.
a second. All right.